So if we potentially do a deep end, a surface P measurement in these three zones and just see what's the variation in P.
I'll do P as well. I always do. I always do a 0 to 10 full analysis, and then 10 to 60 looking at subsoils. But
okay,
we're putting out 60 kilos of granulog Z, which is putting out 13 units of P, which is probably a good long-term P amount for the Wimmera, but maybe that centre bit we need to be more up like 18 units. I'm starting to think. So get towards more that 80, 90 kilos. So which is not, they do that down at south of Horsham. That's the standard rate down there. So
just as an approach then, Tim, to follow that through for this year, do you muck around, and to you too, I suppose, Ed, do you muck around with both the P and the N?
Well,
ultimately, like we still want to be closing. Like I think we can pick in that low zone. We might leave a strip where you might leave it normal and just push the N. But I think that you can. Yeah, we do a lot where we do, because it's all about, if we're not setting up the plants at the start, we're never going to help them fill any more at the finish, if you know what I mean. So it takes the P to, like, we've got to remove that being a limiting factor to make sure the N management is maximised.
And I've been working a bit with a soil scientist recently, and she was saying a big thing with N management, how people have been pushing really high rates of N sort of in the northeast and down the Western district. She's starting to find they're becoming P limited to push those high yielding crops. So so if your underlying issue is P, it doesn't matter how much N you're going to throw out there, you're still going to have a problem. So it's that. Well, when I was at Dookie, Rob Norton, he taught us about the leaking bucket theory. You've got to address, the underlying problem and then address the next one and the next one. So
doesn't matter how much water you tip in, Tim, it just keeps disappearing. Is that the theory?
Well, I don't know. It's just nutrition's a very, very holistic and complex thing. So that's why. And that's why I do a full analysis whenever we do soil tests. And this lady that I'm working with, she wants me actually to she really wants me to segment everything, which is a huge amount of work. But every sort of 10 to 20 centimetres, she'd like segmented down to a metre. But that gets very, very time consuming.
Yeah. But it is amazing what does come out of that data, though. Like doing some of the segmented stuff, you're like, far out. You do realise there are these hot spots going down through the profile that you just, hot spots or low spots. You don't know.
We need a machine that can do it easily. I've been Googling some of the stuff in the US that, I was watching some guy from Canada that had a F truck that was on tracks that he goes over paddocks, and he can just sit in the ute and do it. So with this big probe that's mounted in the passenger seat. So
yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
Something like I think that's where we're probably lagging behind. North America a bit with their soil testing. They do a lot more grid testing and all those sorts of things. So just getting the capacity to get people to do it. That's the problem.
They also do it for about $7 a test, though. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I know that. But if looking at some of the clients around the college now, it's just the fertiliser spends just astronomical to what they were doing 10 years ago. So testing isn't expensive really when you look at your fertiliser spend in general. So if you're spending a couple grand soil testing, but you're spending, for some of these bigger farmers, $400,000 in fertiliser, it's just nothing. And then if we can put it in the right spots, and it's just money so well spent. I think it more comes down to getting people that are able to do it more than anything.
Yeah, I think the guys who've sort of dealt with on some of it have did all this soil testing and then tried to do more to like learn more, but then still did nothing different with the data. It's like quite common what I've heard in the past. And it's trying to say that it's potentially like backing yourself in and say you need to get to that critical mass, and depending on your variability there, and saying we need X amount of soil tests to make sure we've got enough information to have confidence to do something variably. Otherwise, I just found it's just like, got all this information. should be ranging from 60 kilos to 80 kilos, and it's like, oh, you know what? No, we'll just go in at the flat rate still. And it's trying to say, no, there is something worth chasing here, and having that sort of some of that metric around it.
Oh no, I think we should be doing stuff here at the college. It'd be a good test case for the rest of the community if we can get the most out of our food. Well, and that's what we need to do. It's not about even, well, we want to get the most out of the paddocks, but as we were talking about in the last meeting, it's not about trying to even them up. It's just getting the most out of our fertiliser spend and just capturing our water use efficiency. Which is extremely complex, but no, this is quite an exciting space, I reckon. And then there's more people than what you think around the area now looking at doing it. I just don't think anyone's really got their head around it and doing it extremely well.
I think the important thing, Tim, what we're establishing here is that you need to know where to look. That's for a start. You need to know where you're going to test, and that's what this whole thing's about, isn't it? Like actually being able to zone it up and say, okay, let's further investigate what's going on here and make sure we're making the right decisions and putting the resources in the right place.